division, and frequency division. Frequency division, multiple access. We have seen these particular techniques in the digital communication configurations, but these digital communication configurations are actually supporting us of simultaneous utilization of the communication media. See the FDMA, frequency division multiple access. It's a multiple access protocol, channelization. Typically, whenever we are utilizing the transmission of speech signal for our telephones, we are utilizing frequency division multiple access. We are utilizing frequency division multiple access in order to provide a proper lossless audio communication. But if the number of channels are quite large, then we are utilizing time division multiple access. Time division multiple access, that's our technique that is utilized for our cellular phones, TDMA. And the recent modifications is to allocate a specified code so that the spectrum can be simultaneously utilized by encoding that particular channel, and that technique is known as code division multiple access. Every subscriber that is connected will be assigning a specific code, and whenever that particular specific code is utilized, same channel can be utilized and reutilized by multiple users having different code configurations, and that is known as code division multiple access. I think this particular concept associated with the taxonomy for multiple access, is there any difficulty for this random access? We are going to see the details associated with Aloha, CSMA, CSMA/CD, CSMA/CA. The token passing, pooling, reservation are some of the protocols that are utilized nowadays for proprietary protocols. And the protocols that are utilized for channel multiple access are FDMA, TDMA, and CDMA. Our important focus will be typically on this CSMA/CD, CSMA/CA. The Ethernet protocol we'll study in detail. We'll not go into much more details associated with reservation, polling, and token passing. But for the understanding concept associated with simultaneous utilization of the communication channel by multiple users that are connected. In every topology, we are utilizing, say, the bus topology. A coaxial cable is utilized. A coaxial cable is connected to multiple terminals. A UTP cable is connected to multiple terminals in the star type of topology. Every terminal is connected by utilizing a UTP cable. That UTP cable is connected in star type of configuration to a centralized device, that is hub or switch. But that common communication media can be utilized for communicating with the connected terminal with the support of the media access control configuration, and that's why we will study in more details about the Ethernet protocol, which the basic is the carrier sensing. CS goes for carrier sensing, MA goes for multiple access, and the next CD goes for collision detection, and CA goes for collision avoidance. So at this point, is there any difficulty? This particular concept is quite important one, which actually provides us the design associated with the protocols that are utilized at media access control, MAC layer. MAC layer is another important sub layer of data link layer. That's why IEEE has categorically divided the data link layer into two different parts. The first part consists of flow control and error control. And second part actually provides you the multiple access of different data devices or data terminals of a common communication media. And that's why this particular study is very, very, very important. Any doubt? Any panelist can unmute the mic and communicate. Tushar Thanekar, Abhishek Gawande. It's a big question mark, big question mark. Are you properly attending or not? Are you getting the information or not? Is the information properly communicated to you or not? Are you receiving the information and properly processing or not? Are you handing over that particular information to your upper layer, that is brain, or not? Or multiple, your brain will be receiving multiple information from the faculty, one information from the PNP coordinator, and another information from the parents, some other information. Simultaneous access, multiple access. Your brain must have the capability to access the data that is coming from the multiple terminals, properly segregate, properly respond, properly acknowledge the information that is being received by your brain, and then properly fire the neuron so that the neuron, which is the information carrying component from your brain, will communicate properly with all simultaneously. That is multiple access for the communication channel. It will be always pleasure to have a controlled access because it provides efficiency. But as the number of user goes on increasing, this control access becomes more and more complex one. And that's why a random access must be provided, or the random access procedures with which the data terminal need not be connected to the communication media always. As like your handset, you are continuously typing something, you are continuously chatting, you are continuously using WhatsApp, you are continuously using Telegram for communicating. Much of the information is not at all necessary, and that's why this particular, but you can connect to internet as per your wish, and that's the random access. Though the information is not at all a correct one, you must be connected randomly or as per your wish. Randomly, the meaning is as per your wish, and that's what actually is the multiple access. Many algorithms are developed. The first of that algorithm was to provide Aloha. It was in early 1970s. The first media access control protocol procedure was searched or developed in Hawaii. This particular configuration of Aloha, whenever the simultaneous utilization, there were a few researchers at University of Hawaii were trying to connect the users on remote island in the typical location from Hawaii to Honolulu, and their cables, they were having the cables through the Pacific Ocean. So it was not at all possible. So they were looking for a different kind of solution. It was the utilization of the shortwave radios or short range radios, with each user terminal sharing the same upstream frequency for the shortwave radios to send the information to the centralized computer. And that was the first start of, I have told you, it was initially started for the wireless channel. Then it was implemented for the wired channel. It was typically utilized from 1970 to almost up to 2000, up to 1989. This particular concept was utilized by utilizing the radio broadcasting. Then it was the utilization by multiple data terminals to share the wired type of connectivity. There are, based on the configuration, Aloha is divided into two different parts. The first part or version of Aloha is known as a pure Aloha, and second version is known as a slotted Aloha. They differ specifically the whether the time that is being utilized by the station is a continuous or, in case of pure version, the time that is utilized by the station is a continuous, and in case of slotted Aloha, the time is divided into discrete slot with which all the frames of all the multiple stations will be allocated to communicate or to utilize a common communication media. And that's why in case of pure Aloha, the there were no restrictions at all. But in case of slotted Aloha, a specific time slot, a discrete time slot was allocated for a specific station so that the transmitting frames will be fit into that particular time slot. And that's why the name slotted Aloha. Slotted Aloha, pure Aloha, and the slotted Aloha. The concept that was utilized by pure Aloha was one and simple. Let user transmit whenever they have data to be sent. That is the concept that is utilized in pure Aloha. Let user transmit whenever they have data to be sent. There will be collision. The collision is bound to happen. The collision is bound to happen. The colliding frames will be damaged. The colliding frames will be damaged. The acknowledgement associated to the damaged frames, if not received, then retransmit those non-acknowledged frames. In the Aloha system, after each station has sent its frame to the central computer, the computer rebroadcasts the frames to all the stations. The sending station can thus listen for the broadcast from the hub to see if the frame has got through or not. In other systems, such as the wired LANs, the sender might be able to listen for collision while transmitting. If the frame was destroyed, the sender just waits a random amount of time and sends it again. The waiting time must be random, or the same frame will collide over and over. The system in which multiple users share a common channel can lead to a conflicts that are known as the contention system. Here, see this particular diagram. The station 1 is continuously transmitting. The station 2, the station 1 is continuously transmitting. The station 2 is transmitting. Frame 1.1, frame 1.2 are transmitted. Now see here, the frames, this particular configuration is a pure Aloha type of configuration. Over the time duration, frame 1.1, frame 1.2 are transmitted in a common communication channel. In a common communication channel, station 2 is transmitting. The sequencing associated to the frames is based upon stations. The frame 2.1 is generated from the station 2. Frame 2.2 is also generated from the station. See here, frame 1.1. Frame 1.1 is propagated at this instant of time. No other station is generating the frame. So frame 1.1 can propagate for the specified destination. At the same instant of time, after a certain time duration, see here, frame 1.2. Some part of frame 1.2 is colliding with part of the frame or entire frame 2.1. This is the collision direction. At the same instant of time, it may be that part of frame 3.1, say 4 bits out of 8 bits. Suppose 8 bits is the length of the frame, say 4 bits. If the lower bits are not at all collided, but higher bits are collided, this particular frame is said to be lost or damaged. Once the collision occurs, the these all frames needs to be retransmitted. So the station 1 will retransmit frame 1.2 at another random amount of time. It's not fixed. Station 2, see here, frame 2.2 is colliding with frame 4.2. It's not that entire frame is colliding, but even if one bit of the frame is colliding, that frame is said to be damaged frame. So that damaged frame needs to be retransmitted. So the station one will transmit all the frames continuously. After a certain time duration, if the acknowledgement is not received, frame 1.2 will be retransmitted, frame 1.2.1 will be retransmitted, 2.2 will be retransmitted, but randomly station 2 will transmit that particular frame or dump that data into the communication media. Whoever passes, it's okay. Whoever is not passed, that frame is retransmitted. That is Aloha, pure Aloha. That is pure Aloha. The data, whenever two frames try to occupy the channel at the same instant of time, there will be collision. That is the collision duration that is represented in the diagram. Whenever collision occurs, both the frames are destroyed. Make it very, very clear. Whenever collision occurs, both the frames will be destroyed. Then it's the question, the station needs to be retransmit the continuously the frame. So what will be the efficiency of the system? Or what fraction of all transmitted frames escape collision under these chaotic circumstances? This particular is the major question for all the stations. The user is always in one of the two states, either sending the information or waiting to send the information. Initially, all the stations are in the typing mode. Suppose the text information is to be transmitted from all the station 1 to station 4. The station 1 to station 4, all the stations are initially in the typing state. Whenever the user stops typing, sends the frame, waits for the response, then some users will get the reply or some users will not at all get the reply. If the users get the reply, those frames are not retransmitted. For the stations if the reply is not at all available. So the efficiency is also randomly increasing or decreasing according to the availability of the communication channel. And that's the one of the major drawback associated with pure Aloha, where there is no maximum throughput that can be defined for every station, which is not at all an encouraging symbol, because we must know that there must be a 100% success rate, and there must that 100% all the frames will be transmitted. There should not be a probability that the generated frame within a specified time duration will not at all be properly propagated. Of course, this particular propagation can be properly identified with suitable mathematical terminology such as Poisson's distribution. If you recall some of the mathematics, Poisson's distribution, why Poisson's distribution is utilized in maths? Yeah. It's you might have studied the probability. In case of probability, you might have heard the term Poisson distribution. It's the discrete probability distribution of the number of events occurring in a given time period. Given the average number of times the event occurs over that time period. The Poisson distribution, in simple words, say a restaurant. A restaurant in a specified time duration of 10 minutes is visited by 3 visitors. That defines actually the Poisson distribution for that particular restaurant for the specified time duration, so that the restaurant can cater the visitors sufficiently. But if 100 visitors visits in the specified 10 minutes time slot to the restaurant, which is having a capacity of just only 25, the 75 visitors will be denied entry for that particular 10 duration. So there will be a queue configuration for all the remaining visitors. This particular type of distribution is known as the Poisson's distribution, which is effectively utilized by the pure Aloha network. It's continuously dumping the data into the communication media and will resend the frames which are not at all acknowledged. But that's the inefficient utilization, and that's why another concept that was, see, this particular procedure for pure Aloha protocol, the station has to send a frame. K is the number of attempts. At the 0th attempt, the station is connected to the communication media and station is sending the frame. The station will wait for the twice the maximum propagation time, 2 into TP, where TP is the maximum propagation time. Will wait for acknowledgement. If the acknowledgement is received, yes, it's a success. If the acknowledgement is not received, then the next attempt to send that frame, K is equal to K plus 1. K is the number of attempts. K plus 1 will be the next attempt. This particular, if K is greater than K max is normally at present for this particular example, say if it's 15. If K, the attempt is more than the K max that is defined, say 15. So if there are 15 attempts, then say abort. Then choose a random number. So choose a random number R between 0 and 2 raised to K minus 1. Wait for that particular time. This particular time duration will be the total back of time, which is calculated as the maximum random number, the maximum, the not maximum, the random number into the maximum propagation time, random number into maximum propagation time, or random number into the average transmission time for the specified frame. Then it will revert back to the station will again send the frame. After a certain number of attempts, it will back off or it will abort. That is your aloha. Abort. But again, you are, whenever you are aborting, that means you are not at all able to send the specified information towards the specified destination, which is not at all a efficient way of propagation. But here it will wait for the acknowledgement. If the acknowledgement is received, it will be a success. If the acknowledgement is not received, then try the second attempt. K is the number of attempts. Attempt is increased by 1. If there are maximum 15 attempts that are defined for the system, it will try for 15, and after 15 it will withdraw. It will try to randomly connect the communication media to propagate the specified frame into the communication media. And this is pure aloha. This is pure aloha. Suppose this is just again a problem. The problem consists of the example, the formulas that we have seen in the previous. Just note down this example 12.1. It's for a wireless aloha network. I have told you B's end collide with A's beginning. A is beginning in B is A, but B is lost, A is also lost. A's end collide with C's beginning. A is lost, C is lost. A is lost, C is lost. This is the time duration. This is the time duration over which B, some part of B is colliding with some part of A, some part of end part of A is colliding with, but all the three frames are lost in the specified time duration. And if it happens continuously, then it's supposed to be a very noisy channel. Then it's supposed to be a the channel which cannot properly propagates or communicates the data into the communication media. That's one of the drawback, the important drawback associated with pure aloha configuration. This pure aloha configuration just started the beginning of utilization of a common communication media by multiple terminals. Just note these particular formulas. The throughput of pure aloha, calculation of maximum throughput. There may be question in the exam based on these. The modification in this pure aloha network is the slotted aloha. For this, a specified time duration is allocated so that the stations can communicate with the other stations. A specified time slot is allocated for every frame. See, previously we were having the various slots were of the collision duration. It may happen that all the stations simultaneously dump the data, then waits for random amount of time, and that random amount of time we are actually dividing into the various time slots, and these time slots are actually providing this effective way of communication. A station is not at all permitted to send whenever the user types. Instead, it is required to wait for the beginning of the next slot. Thus, the continuous time aloha. It's a continuous time. Previous was pure aloha was a continuous time aloha. Is converted now into a slotted time aloha. You come at this particular time duration. You come at this particular time duration. You utilize this particular time duration. So it's a discrete time. This actually reduces the vulnerable period of collision, and the collisions can be, or the probability of the collisions also can be avoided. There may be some part where, say, the time slot 4, only frame 2.2 can communicate with any terminal or send the data into the specified time duration, where which will not at all be collided, frame 4.2, frame 3.2, see here, 2.2, 4.2, 3.2 are in having a specified independent slot, so there will be no collision for the frame slot which is being generated by multiple stations. And that's why station 2, station 3, station 4 can communicate simultaneously if a specified time slot is allocated. Slot 4 is allocated for frame 2.2, slot 5 is allocated for frame 4.2, slot 6 is allocated. So these frames from multiple stations can utilize same communication media by allocating the time slot, and that is slotted Aloha network. The maximum throughput is increased. The vulnerable time slot also decreases. I will wait for the questions. Just shoot out your questions. We are not all nowadays utilizing the Aloha, slotted Aloha or pure Aloha, but it was the attempt for simultaneously transmitting the frame. In 1967, initially the pure Aloha was utilized. For the pure Aloha, if number of terminal, it's not that only 4 stations are connected. There may be multiple stations. The small increasing in the channel load can drastically reduce the performance. If number of station goes on increasing, the chances of collision goes on increasing in pure Aloha. Slotted Aloha is a notable modification. It was also developed in 1971 for few experimental systems, but it was utilized in the commercial systems when internet access was utilized with the support of the cable. At that time, it was not at all pure Aloha, but the slotted Aloha was to used to allocate a shared channel among multiple users. Slotted Aloha was utilized later with the various ideas. The protocols that are perfectly valid previously were not at all utilized as the number of users goes on, and ever changing technology, the trends for manufacturing the various devices, networking devices, has actually given rise to the development of the medium access control sublayer protocols, MAC protocols. Medium access control protocols. They initially slotted Aloha protocol was discarded. Then for a few years it was in dump. No one was utilizing slotted Aloha protocol. For few users it was quite sufficient. But again, for whenever the bus technology or bus topology was developed, for the bus type of topology, it was found that slotted Aloha can work very well, say for 8 terminals or 10 terminals. All the 10 terminals can communicate simultaneously over a common bus, a common bus, a common bus. I'm again saying a common bus. A common bus is nothing but a common communication media. There are obvious drawbacks associated with pure Aloha and a slotted Aloha. But it was an attempt for random multiple access. Random multiple access. It was the developer Robert. I don't remember his surname. Robert. It's again a Robert's method for allocating the slots. Allocating the slots, the time duration slots, by again utilizing the probability. In the first utilization of the slotted Aloha, the time of utilization of a communication media was increased by double. Initially, if the communication media was properly utilized, say for 20 seconds, by utilizing the slotted Aloha, it was proper utilizations for 40 seconds. Then again, the Poisson's distribution and the random probability coefficient with which the stations communicate the traffic by checking the traffic over the common communication media gave rise to increase in the throughput. And if pure Aloha was providing the efficiency of 37%, slotted Aloha was actually providing the efficiency of almost double. It was almost 70%, almost double, 37% to 70%. The number of As the number of stations goes on increasing, pure Aloha efficiency is reduced. The number of time slots at which the collision occurs was quite high if the number of stations goes on increasing for pure Aloha. But in case of slotted Aloha, it was the first attempt to share the bandwidth. You can say that it was the first attempt to share the bandwidth. To share the bandwidth among all the terminals, the bandwidth can be properly shared. And this particular concept was first of all introduced in the slotted Aloha. Pure Aloha, slotted Aloha. Remember again, it's the for intermittent or burst traffic. The good efficiency can be achieved if the available resources are utilizing the bandwidth or are getting connected with the communication channel on a random access basis. In case of controlled access or fixed assigned methods, we can say that the communication resources are wasted for maximum amount of time. But in case of random access methods, the random access methods make use of a contention where no coordination is required among the terminals. It's the beauty that is associated with the terminal sending the packets, waiting for the confirmation of the successful reception. This acknowledgement mechanism helps in detecting the collision. If that, you can say that if the acknowledgement is not at all received, the data may be collided, the frame may be lost. It may be lost due to noise, it may be lost due to the various problems, or it may be lost due to collision. Pure Aloha, slotted Aloha. Then in the next lecture, coming lectures, we'll see carrier sense multiple access, the CSMA type of configuration. The carrier sense multiple access configurations can check, can provide the proper utilization associated with the common communication media. Any doubt, any difficulty associated with Aloha? Today we stop here for the Aloha. Next time we will start with CSMA. Pure Aloha, slotted Aloha. Major difference. Is there any doubt regarding this? For pure Aloha, slotted Aloha. I'm waiting for the questions. Just look for the examples in Forsensbrook 12.2 that we have seen in the presentation. 12.2, 12.3, and specific example of 12.4 for slotted Aloha. If you see those examples, you will get the idea how many frames can be transmitted per second by utilizing slotted Aloha. What is the time duration and how actually this data rate 10 Mbps, 100 Mbps is actually defining us the efficiency associated with our data transmission. In case of slot Aloha, pure Aloha as well as slotted Aloha, it's not at all checking whether the communication channel is available or not. It's continuously dumping the data, though at a random amount of time. Randomly slotted time, but it's randomly getting connected. It's not at all that the stations are always connected to the communication media. The station can communicate with the communication media as per the requirement, as per the requirement, as per the random requirement, and random simultaneous access of the communication media. That gave rise to the huge development of simultaneous utilization of a common communication media that we are utilizing nowadays. A huge amount of bandwidth is supported by the optical fiber systems. That huge amount of bandwidth can be utilized by millions of terminals who are accessing the internet at a very fast speed. And that is only possible due to the developments supported at the MAC layer, media access control layer, which is actually providing us the efficient way of communication, the efficient translation of the data from one station to multiple stations, from multiple stations to multiple stations, or from multiple stations to one station in a duplex way. And that's the beauty associated with the development of the protocols at the MAC layer. If there are no difficulties, I will stop here only for today. There will be no practical for today and tomorrow. Almost we have finished 8 practicals. So we'll take a break for practical for this particular week. Next time I will show you some practical protocols which are not at all listed under the practical list and some of the applications. In the meantime, everyone register on the Cisco site, get the certification. Sumit Valsankar has already got the certification. You can add this certification in your resume. That may give you an upper hand if the companies like Cisco or the company. This Cisco is actually providing the protocols not only at the lower level or at the data link level. The Cisco is providing nowadays the protocols at all the layers, at the data link layer, at the network layer, at the adjacent layers of network layer such as the transport layer, or even at the application layer. The manipulation of the switches, manage the switches at the network layer, or managing the routers, or managing the applications, software applications for the various hardware devices. Say a firewall. Firewall can be operated or can be managed by utilizing the HTTP protocol application. In the browser, you can manage the firewall, which manages the entire communication inside a corporate. And it's not only Cisco, everywhere the protocol development, the application development, the socket development, or the web programming requires the knowledge associated with the protocols. There will be no practical for today, there will be no practical for tomorrow. Okay, I will stop here only. Complete recording of the lecture was not done. First for 30 minutes of recording was not done. Okay, I will just add this 47 minutes video.